Well, welcome to Thomas Szirmay to the Noble Shire for progressive discussion here at Progressive Rock Central. And you may have seen me talking to him in other discussions, but now he's going to have the full floor this time. He's going to be talking about his show, Prog Rogue, as you can see from his shirt. He's going to give us a background on what that's all about and how to get a hold of him, how to listen to him, how to find his reviews, which are excellent. And he's got a deep background. You'll hear him talk about that momentarily. And then we're just going to talk about progressive rock albums that we've heard about, and maybe he's already started reviewing. I'm getting started finally on a few prog albums, reviewing after getting hit with a lot of brand new metal albums. But that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be fun, interesting, and if you like progressive rock, then this is the place to be. That's all we're going to be talking about. All right, go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead and tell us about you and your show, and then we'll go from there.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's always fun to have an opportunity to, instead of talking about everyone else, to talk about oneself. I very rarely get the opportunity, so thank you very much. So very briefly, I have a rather strange background. Um, I'm a Woodstock kid, so I was 13 when Woodstock happened. My first albums, when I was literally 10, 11 years old, um, reflect that period. My first albums were obviously the Beatles. What else was new in the days? The vinyls. And then I got gifts such as Steppenwolf, the first Santana album, Traffic, John Barleycorn Must Die,
Oh
and
my
that.
God.
Yes, indeed. And then that moved into the first Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And anyway, the ball got rolling. How I got involved in progressive music is literally through the proverbial front door and not the back door. Um, in that sense that I had a classical music education, not in terms of playing, but actually as a historian. And how that happened is really quite strange. Everyone has certain attributes. My claim to fame before anything as a human being is that I speak seven languages fluently,
Which is
to the point
incredible.
where I probably was contacted by the CIA, the KGB, and a few other organizations wanting to hire me. And I told them that you have no bond over me because I will never do that.
Yeah.
Uh, and how it happened really is very interesting. It's not a talent. It's one of the biggest falsehoods or misconceptions. Is the key to learning multiple languages is to do them simultaneously when you're very young,
Yes.
because
I've heard that.
the young brain is like a huge warehouse of drawers that are all empty.
Yep.
So when you see a 5-year-old child, for example, who's repeating entire scenes from a movie, and you ask them very stupidly, how many times have you seen this movie for you to be able to repeat them like this? And they look at you quizzically and they say, well, I saw it only once,
Yeah.
which is like, you wonder, how is that possible? Well, because their drawers are empty. So they know where the information is and they find it. If you ask any adult today, anywhere in the world, what did you do 3 Tuesdays ago?
Yeah.
There's no way they can remember. Maybe not even yesterday, to be sure. So, so my parents are Hungarian immigrants. They fled the communist regime in Hungary in 1956. So I spoke Hungarian at home. Went to a French school in Montreal, and then lived in an English neighborhood in the same city. I had a Spanish tutor on Saturday and a German tutor on Sunday, and this started at the age of 5. Now, why is this important? Because if you
Very.
connect the classical music background and you connect the language background, you realize one very interesting facet is that language is basically spoken music, right?
Yeah.
We all understand that. So if you're able to grasp the tonalities of a language, then you're able to grasp the minute details of music. It doesn't matter what kind it is. Now, what's very interesting, and I've been a progressive rock fan, as you can see, literally from day one, and very slowly became only exclusively that. I do like some classical music. I love going to the opera, for example. I love jazz. But anything else, really, even rock and roll, you know what? I got it out of my system when I was 17, so I'm
Yeah.
looking for, more melody and structure and music and fascination and being surprised. So I got very quickly into that environment. I was lucky to be a child of the 70s, so I witnessed some concerts that people hate me for today.
Yeah.
When I tell them that I saw Led Zeppelin live, they go, "Ooh, you bad boy." Um, so obviously music played an immediate role. When I was in school, I actually was surrounded by musicians who were outright musicians. There was a jazz rock group called Manège, which was quite famous in Quebec.
Oh yeah.
And then, and then there was another band more in the pop rock, electronic pop, synth pop version called Men Without Hats. And one of the founders of Men Without Hats is the person I'm making music with today because we're childhood friends. So we got together 5 years ago and decided, hey, why don't we make some music? So,
Yeah,
um,
just that band is Enigmatic Sound
Sound
Machines,
Machine.
and
Yes,
I
exactly.
reviewed their album, but excellent album. But do you want to just mention that just a little bit, or
Yeah, certainly. Well, we can do
we'll
that
come
later,
around?
but
Yeah, whenever.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
keep going. Sorry.
I'll go as I went through the decades. And so something very horrible happened in 1977. It,
Yeah,
it was called punk rock, and which in itself was not necessarily a bad thing. But what happened, there was some people in the press mostly. My arch enemy number one, Lester Bangs, who some people may remember, who was a notorious hater of anything, any song longer than 3 minutes was considered anathema for him.
yeah,
And he went on a rampage, blasting absolutely everybody. Then it was taken over by, unfortunately, your southern neighbor, the biggest, worst rag on the history of the planet, Rolling Stone, which is
yeah,
even then, till today, is nothing more than a, how can I put this? A mirrored palace for elitist writers who are really obviously very lousy musicians, who basically championed one kind of music, uh, theirs, whatever that means, much to the detriment of everyone else. I mean, I don't know if you saw Rick Beato put out a list of the Rolling Stone top 200 200 guitarists.
yeah,
And David Gilmour was 62.
yeah. I mean,
Robert
come
Fripp
on.
was 112. No
Yeah,
mention of Al Di Meola.
yeah.
What? So,
It really hurts. Yeah, the
so what happened then, as some people may remember, prog rock was dead in the water. Like literally, it died a swift and burning death. And the Genesises and the Jethro Tulls, the King Crimson to a certain extent, they continued, but they suddenly became underground as opposed to above ground. And a long time went by when there was nothing. So I had to content myself with the Ultravoxes and the magazines and the new wave, which some of it was very good, actually, to be honest. Bauhaus and modern English, and the list is pretty endless. And then, thankfully, a resurgence happened in with Marillion and Palace and IQ, who are obviously still going strong. And then it, of course, continued to be an underground situation, and it started growing like wildfire, as you know,
yes,
Mark. And
yes.
and yes, of course, it stayed underground. But someone, to illustrate that, I have a very good comment when someone asks me, why do you listen to progressive rock music? No one listens to that.
Oh yeah.
And I tell them,
That's where
really?
you're wrong.
Okay. Well, look at it this way. If you're a progressive rock artist, and you have two people in every major city in the world who enjoy your music, you're a very, very happy man
Yeah.
because it's global now. You go into the jungle of Africa among the pygmies, and chances are you will hear, the Flower Kings.
Yeah.
Everything is possible today. And also the fact that making music and listening to music has become so much easier than it was before, especially the making part. You can have a home studio. I mean, I have one right behind me here,
Sure.
a smaller one with my computer and all the Pro Logics and whatever, you can do miracles.
Yes, you
So
can.
you don't really need a studio anymore. And one of the things that I started noticing in my travels, where I was meeting progressive musicians in Italy and in Hungary and in Switzerland and in France, one of the things that I found really interesting that most people don't know is that a very large percentage of progressive rock artists around the world, I would
Yep.
say almost
There.
95% of them have a day job. They
Yeah.
actually do something else to feed their family and
Keep.
to have a life. They could be civil servants, postmen, dentists, doctors, architects, whatever. And they actually make this music that we hear today out of sheer, unadulterated love for what they're doing.
Yeah.
No corporate influence, no one telling you how to do it and what to play, and you can't do this and you can't do that, and oh, the track is too long, you can't do that anymore. And this is why it's flourishing, Mark. I mean, it's
The love.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the love of the music. Yeah. And that's true. Yeah, Genesis and all those bands were pushed, and when are you going to have an album? I can't remember which song it was off the top of my head, but when are we going to hear a single? That's in somebody's lyrics. I can't remember. May have
Yes.
been Tom Petty. I think it was Tom Petty. When are we going to hear a single? Well, yeah, I mean, you're pushing people, and he created thousands of albums. I mean, not thousands, thousands of songs, but yeah, it is much easier if people love it, and that's true. That's very true today. Now, as I mentioned, and we're gonna be talking about Prague the rest of the day, but I just wanted to see how you felt. Um, this usually I love January because, and I'm sure you do too. You've been talking about all these albums the year before, and you've loved all those albums, and then you have and I'm not sure if you do, but you have your end of the year. These are my favorite albums of the year. And now, boom, it comes January, and it used to be that nothing would happen. And I can remember I would be begging people in November and December,
Mhm.
please send me something. I need something to talk
Material.
to
Yes.
talk about in January. Not true anymore. That happened last year, and now it's happened again this year, but not from the progressive side, from the metal. And this is not heavy metal. This is what I call symphonic metal. And
Yes.
one of my favorite bands in the genre, Edenbridge, and I don't know if you've ever heard any of their music, some of it comes very close to Prague. They have Prague influences.
Yeah.
And so that one, and it's up in back of me here, you can see all the ones that I bought of theirs. But theirs came out in January. Epinikion is another brand new band, symphonic metal, and that's coming out. I think it's this week. But I've already reviewed that. Shatter Heart. I knew I was going to do that. Shatter Heart has a fantastic album. That's more blues and more classical heavy metal, and then Voice of Glass. They came out like immediately. I didn't have to wait for them. They sent me the music. I've got um, interviews set up. I've already had the interview with Edenbridge, but it seems like metal is, jumping out there early to get their foot in the door. And I'm telling you, there's some good stuff. Now, here's the question I was going to ask you. Um, Do you, and I know it's not definitely not traditional progressive rock, but do you see the influence of progressive rock in some of these bands? Because you were nodding your head. It seems like you may have heard some of them, but not just those, but others that you know. Do you see the influence of progressive rock? And if you do, that's another commentary towards what you said that progressive rock is back. But go ahead, I'm going to shut up.
Well, I started reviewing, literally writing, which is obviously with language skills, it's not something that is particularly difficult for me. I started reviewing on Prog Archives about 20 years ago, and enjoyed it immensely, the opportunity to enter the community. And I did get somewhat upset by labeling. I'm a anti-labeler. I never liked labels for one very specific reason, because progressive rock music is the only form of music on this planet that combines part or in whole of all the other
Yeah,
musical genres on the planet, you know?
yes, it does.
So you can have a heavy metal band that includes koto, Japanese koto solos, and I don't know, Argentinian accordion. Nothing out of the ordinary.
No,
It's the biggest buffet you can possibly think of. So the advantage of that is that everything goes, and the disadvantage is that you start to specialize. Now, I have great amount of difficulty at times with the heavier metal genres, mainly because I find it sometimes or too simplistic or
yeah.
unfortunately too technical. I will get a lot of flack for this, but I really don't care. I can't get into Dream Theater if you push me. I just can't.
Even the early stuff.
Even their early stuff, it
I
just doesn't.
mean, this later, yeah, it seems like they're just kind of going back and remaking.
Yeah, but you
But
see
the
these.
early, the first two albums, no, yeah, okay,
I have. It's the only albums I have, and I admire the music. I even can say so far as that I like it, certainly compared to the other musical genres that are out there, which are mostly terrible in my opinion. I haven't listened to commercial radio in 30 years, so I don't
oh
even
yeah.
know who Taylor Swift really is. I mean, she's pretty, that's all I know.
And by the way, today is the Emmys, right?
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
jeez, I don't even watch that anymore.
I know, I
Um,
know. I don't
Ever
either,
since
but yeah,
Jethro Tull won Best Heavy Metal Album,
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
I
That
don't
was
no,
funny.
thank you. But
And just to jump onto what you said there, I somebody told me a while back, or I read it, that Iron Maiden, I think, what made one of the greatest progressive rock albums, and I've never listened to it because I doubt it. But I mean, I not that I don't like Iron Maiden, I do. Yeah, I can't listen to everything they've done. But have you heard that one? That I don't even know the name of it. But people compare it to, and there's no way you'll get me to agree to that, but they compare it to uh, Foxtrot and some of these great albums. And I'm like, really? Okay. And I should just listen to it just to see. But have you heard about that or no?
well, there was a very interesting video I saw recently where they interviewed Ronnie James Dio,
Yeah. Yeah.
this
He's,
I mean, without any doubt, a brilliant vocalist to say the least. Operatic style. Obviously, the man had a set of lungs that you couldn't believe. But he was asked in the '90s if heavy metal was becoming moronic, and he said yes because the shift went from the music to the look.
yeah.
The what they called hair metal, etc.
Yes. Yeah.
The poisons of the world and the nice white snakes and whatever. So
Yeah.
the focus went away from the music and more into the image and to the style, which, as we all know, no fad since the beginning of time has lasted. I mean, the miniskirt even came by and went and left. I mean, it's not sustainable. What is sustainable, though, is musicianship. So what happened with the with I like heavy music too. I mean, when we talk about heavy, I have a great anecdote
Okay.
on that actually. I was in the 90s. I was taking public transport because Montreal has a very good public transport system and very poor parking. And I remember on a winter night, I had my Walkman Discman on my ears, and I sat in the back of a bus, and this guy came in, sat next to me, looking very nasty,
Yeah.
and I was and I was listening to Red by King Crimson.
Oh yeah.
And even though the earphones were really good, it sort of bled
Yeah.
through. And the guy goes like this to me. He said, "Hey, what are you listening to?"
Oh
And it
my
was
God.
very obviously a punker, into, Slayer and stuff like that. And I said, "Oh, you want to listen?" And he says, "Can I?" And I said, "Sure, no problem." I raised the volume. I raised the volume. I
That's
stuck it
a
in his ears, and I proceeded to see him melt.
yeah.
And he asked me, "Who the hell is this?" And I said, "King Crimson." He said, "I never heard of them." I said, "Well, they're the ones that Metallica learned from."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is my point here is that, Mark, there are albums that you and I still listen to that are 50 years old.
Yeah.
We listen to them. Why? Because we didn't get it the first time? No,
No,
because we
no.
still love it like the
Love it.
first time.
Yeah.
Right? It gives us the same feeling, the same vibe, the same, ooh, yeah, I mean, I can listen to First of Frith by Genesis 1,000 times and I will never get bored. So
Yeah.
I think also another aspect that's important is that there's certain forms of music that are much better in a live setting than in an audition setting, let's
Yeah.
say. And that's where my predilection is. Do I listen to jazz albums on my earphones? Never.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
will I go see it live? Absolutely. You have to see jazz. You have to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
Um,
You're right.
I think the heavier genre is also pretty much the same thing. You have to feel it. I mean, I saw Led Zeppelin. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And loud besides all other things. You have to feel that kind of music.
Yeah.
I think that the type of prog that I like, the more melodic, more atmospheric, more passionate style. Maybe mellow. I'm 70 in a couple of months, so I prefer the more mellow stuff because, that's where I'm at genetically in my life. I prefer to listen to that in a way where I can detect all the details. So
Okay.
that's why I write. Yes, I do have Prog Rogue. Basically, Prog Rogue was a channel, a Facebook page that I started writing reviews because I got tired of being told by Prog Archives what I could or could not do.
I
They
hate that.
objected
Yeah.
to the fact that I gave high ratings, and I'm still till today explaining to them that since I am not paid employee, I don't have to obey any kinds of rules outside of being civilized. So, if I anoint an album 5 stars, because for me it's a masterpiece. It's
Yeah.
maybe not a masterpiece for everyone else, but for me it is. And how do I define a masterpiece? Something that I would be willing to listen to again and again and again. That's the
It
definition.
probably a masterpiece, like you say, is like a decade album. You could listen to it for decades and still, like you said, I mean, I hear Supper's Ready and I still get chills. And I don't know, I probably have heard it over a million times since I heard it, maybe back when I was 14 or 15. So it's played a lot. But I
You're
mean,
gonna hate me. I saw it live. It was like
oh,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
it was 5 feet away. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
And I have seen the I can't remember the Batacomb, I think it was, video,
Yes. Yeah.
and it is incredible, but it could never, I don't know, there's some songs that you can't I don't know how you say it, but yeah, they definitely have played it. They've played it many times. Steve Hackett still does it.
Of
Um,
course.
and um, but it just even and at first, when I was a kid, I mean, my parents, you had some wonderful parents that let you go and enjoy these things. We had to sneak Houses of the Holy and some of those albums in, and our parents never saw them. Otherwise, that if my dad would have seen that, holy mackerel. So go to a concert? No. Go to Genesis. Yeah, and Genesis was mild. I mean, they were not, or Led Zeppelin or any of those bands. I still got to see Zeppelin, but Genesis, I never did get to see. But in some ways, I'm actually glad. I know that sounds crazy because they're right. I mean, it's Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Genesis. Those are the top three. In that order changes every once in a while, depending on, if I'm into the harder or the softer. But anyway, I'm actually glad I didn't. And I know that sounds crazy to everyone I say it to. I
No,
have
it's not crazy
this
at all.
picture, I have this picture in my mind. And like I say, I saw that the video they did make, and thank God somebody was smart. I mean, think about this in the 60s, and they were just a small band back then, just getting started. Somebody had the brains to say, I probably ought to film this. And it's like, thank you. So at least we got a chance to see it. But but I don't even think they could bring it to the life the way I bring it to life in my own mind. And the way that I interpret it is, I'm sure, different. And so I know that I have been wanting to say that for a while. And I've told friends and relatives, and they're like, why wouldn't you want to see that live? It's like, because I might be disappointed. I might be like, this isn't what I expected. I expected a lot more. And at that time, they could not deliver what some of these bands can do now with 3D imaging and AI and all that stuff. I mean, if they had all that back then, yeah, maybe. But now, I mean, back then they didn't. And now you had the poor guy, Peter was putting on masks and having to hide them and then sneak into the show because the band was like, this guy's nuts. Why is he doing this? So yeah. Now, if they, and I don't want them to get together now and do it, but if they had all that technology back then, they might have done something incredible. And people keep wanting them to go back and redo the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and the same thing with King Crimson, all these bands. But without Greg Lake, King Crimson is not the same for me. And Robert Fripp doesn't sound like he's very happy to get back into that either. So yeah, without some of these important people, it's not the same. And I don't know how, let's see how I'm going to try to stop talking, but sometimes I get going. But everyone keeps pushing these bands, 30, 40, 50 years later, and get back there and do, like I say, Foxtrot, do the whole Foxtrot album. And it's like, these guys are in their 70s, 80s, and it's not going to be the same. It's not supposed to be the same. What
And
do you,
even though there's, bands like Musical Box, which are going around the world, which are actually a French-Canadian band from Quebec, from where I come from. And they tour the world and they play, they played Trespass, they played Selling England by the Pound, they did obviously The Lamb. They're even going out and doing, and then there were three. So, I mean, even into the Phil Collins area. So
yeah, and I'm
it
just going to throw in, I like the band from Italy, Watch, The Watch. To
yes,
me, his voice sounds a lot more like Peter's than,
of course.
um,
Then Peter himself, probably.
well, no, than the guy from Flower Kings that Steve's using. Um, I mean, he's a good singer. I'm not, downgrading him at all, but uh, I think if he would, and Steve has a good relationship with the Watch. So it'd be great if he could use that singer. If that, and maybe that guy doesn't want to, he wants to do it on his own. I don't know. But yeah. All right.
But you had a point earlier that
Sorry.
I'd like to help you with, in that sense that you make absolute perfect sense. Seeing a concert is a culmination of what you already saw in your head. When I meet people who do not understand, who ask me, how do you define progressive music, which is like the catch-all of catch-alls. We hear it constantly. What is your definition of progressive music? It's complicated because it incorporates all the different styles. But what progressive music is for a listener, it is the soundtrack of a movie that plays in your mind.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
so basically, the real way to listen, and this is the way I certainly do it, I would say 90% of the time, even when I do reviews, I basically close my eyes.
Yeah.
And I imagine, I believe I have a fertile imagination. I try to ingest all the sonic information, or through the lyrics or through the music, and try to imagine in my mind what this is all about. Now, the beauty of that is that you can listen to that same album over and over again, and every single time, depending on your mood, you will be imagining something different than the last time. It's not a video. The video, MTV was when MTV came out, one of the biggest negatives is that that's not the way I interpret this song.
Yeah.
Why are they imposing this on me? That's not at all
Well,
how I see it, right?
now see, yes, I agree with you with some of these. And then with others, like, and you probably don't like it, but I loved Rio from Duran Duran. That I couldn't imagine it being any different. But for me, like, I personally, and you probably disagree, I wouldn't mind if the band, maybe when they're in their 30s or 40s, would have, Genesis, I mean, would have put together a Supper's Ready video. For me, a video would have been better because then you have the technology. If you really see Peter Gabriel sitting next to his wife on the couch and they go through the whole thing, that would have, to me, would have been more. And I know this goes against every Genesis fan, and if they hear this, they're going to be, "You're nuts! Why wouldn't you want to see him live?" Because it it's like you said. No, it is perfectly what you said. It's a movie in your head, and you want to see that come to fruition. And I know they all these fans want to see not just Genesis, but all these bands. They want to see that song that they love, played in front of them and played to their expectations, which you're not going to. And thus my fear is, and I said it, it's not going to be what you expect. And then you're like, well, that wasn't what I wanted. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's not for me. It's for a huge wide audience. And
Mhm.
and not only that, it's the artist's view. It's not my view. It's not the fan's view. It's that artist. But yeah, I'm telling you, we could talk about this forever. And I'm not going to cut you off, but go ahead and do you have anything else you want to add to that? And then I wanted to start talking about some of the new stuff.
No, that's
And did I, and I hope I didn't cut you off, and I just
no,
did
no,
again,
don't worry
but
about it.
I
It's all
hope I
good.
didn't cut you off on, do you want to talk a little bit more about enigmatic sound machines and how do you do your prog rock and things
So
like that? Yeah.
it started like, baby steps, like everything else. It was a new form. The freedom was amazing, in that sense that I could pretty much do whatever I wanted. So I started that, pushing out. Plus, I had a lot of reviews that were already written for Prog Archives, which belonged to me, so that I could, alter them a bit and then stick them there. There was no legal issues whatsoever anyway. So I had material already, and you said it earlier, the number one prerequisite if you want to be online in any which shape or form, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or anything else, you need content,
Yeah.
content, content, content. So in order to have content, you need material. So I started pounding out reviews really quickly, and my followers started growing. They went from literally from zero, and 2 years later, I had reached 1,000 people, and I was like, "Wow, this is going well." Um, and then, I'm still active on that literally every single day in terms of preparing material or listening to material and doing reviews on the weekend and then publishing them. And then I had an idea saying, you know what? Uh, I can't really transmit my persona on paper, typing. The
Yeah.
visual part is very important as well. I have allegedly a sense of humor. Most of my videos have a little touch of humor. And also, I get to use my accents. So if I feel like talking like an American from down south, I can do that.
Yeah.
Um, or if I want to speak like a Frenchman, it's not particularly difficult for me, etc., etc., etc. So I decided that I was going to start a YouTube channel. I'd say what now, maybe 8 months ago or so,
Okay.
also called Prog. And the benefit there is that there's very few people. I know Pardo at the Sea of Tranquility does that, and maybe one or two others. But actually, go out and present the new arrivals that would come in into the studio. Now, I get, just like you, tons of material.
Yeah.
Literally every day, some artist around the world is sending me material. Would you be kind enough to review that? Because they know implicitly or through other people that I do not do negative reviews.
Yeah.
That was one of the problems with Prog Rogue, with Prog Archives. They complain, how come you don't do,
Yeah.
what kind of critic are you? You don't criticize anything. I said, who told you that I was a critic? I'm a
I'm the
fan.
same way. Yeah. I
If
like
I
to
don't
bring
like
out,
it, I'm not going to review it. Why? Well,
yeah.
because if I don't like I don't know, Korean food, I'm not going to go into a Korean restaurant and
And
do a
he,
review.
yeah.
Or if I'm a vegetarian, I'm not going to go into a steakhouse and write
Yeah.
about steak. No.
Yeah.
So I keep it like that for a very simple reason. I, just like you, I saw Prague die.
Yeah.
It came like the phoenix out of the ashes. I don't want it to disappear again. So my role, even once I am gone, is to have a legacy of having preserved and helped musicians and artists from around the world to promote their music so that people can actually hear about it and maybe possibly enjoy it as much or even more than I did. And if
I'm
I
gonna,
can write that down and they can catch the glimpse of the essence of what I'm saying, and supposedly, yes, I do long reviews. If you don't like it, you can read 5 second reviews. There's millions of them out there.
yeah.
So, that's the way I look at it. It's very simple. I adore what I do. I have a spot every Saturday with Lasland on Progzilla Radio in the UK. I get to introduce a new song that had just, of an album that just came
Wow.
out. We're continuing that collaboration with some podcasts as well. As you very well know, and I think it is the most important element of today's discussion, which we had also with Atomic Sun
Time. Yeah.
Time, sorry. Um, Prague today is a very, very, very tight community.
Yeah. It is.
Everybody or knows each other or knows of each
Of
other.
each other. Yeah.
So what happens is that because it's technically pretty much a nonprofit
Yeah.
organization, right? Um,
No.
there is
But
no
you make a lot of
vested
money.
interest in sabotage. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to play your music. Why? Well, because it's a threat to me. No, it's not a threat. So
No.
it's a you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Um, that's how I got the Enigmatic Sound Machine. So great segue here. We put out two initial albums, and then we were ready to take the leap into Prague. because Jeremy was more into synth pop stuff, and I was trying to push him more towards progressive because I don't think there's a market anymore for synth pop. It's too narrow for
Yeah.
it, and there's too many people in that
In it.
narrow.
Yeah.
While as in Prague, it is much wider and there's more room for progression and expansion and creating your own sound. So the plan was that the third album, we're gonna hunt down a label. Now, obviously, being an established reviewer, getting material from labels who are sending me CDs and downloads kind of easy, you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
would you be interested in some music that I'm making? You? No, no, you're a reviewer. You're not supposed to make music. I said, okay, all
Yeah.
right, whatever. And
But
the
you'll
second
find
stop,
one. Yeah.
progrock
And you did.
dot com got on. Mark 140 was gung ho like there's no tomorrow, and
He's very
decided, yeah,
good.
absolutely, bring it on. So now we have a label. Now, label is good. It's good to have a label. Plus, Anne Claire of Bad Dog Promotions.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful lady. We hooked up with her. I mean, the idea behind Enigmatic Sound Machines was to continuously progress. The idea is not to make money. Frankly, unless you tour, you're not going to make any money in the digital world anyways.
Yeah.
Uh, you and I both know that. But
Yes.
the idea is to be is legacy. Again, the same principle. You and I, we will go on to the great gig in the sky, as Lloyd once called
Pink
it.
Floyd. Yeah.
But what will remain is our videos, our music, our written words, our reviews. That will remain forever. So it's a legacy thing, really.
Well, speaking of that confession here, that yes, I do teach, and I still teach marketing and business. But for me, the funny thing is, I can remember when I was younger. I can remember my dad, you need to sit down and finish that paper. I hated to write, not like you. In college, I hated to write. Then I got into my master's degree, and that's when it started to click for me because now I'm writing about what I want to write about.
Exactly.
When you're in your master's, you're just taking the courses that you really want to take and that you're interested in. And then from that, it built into, the other thing I love was music. And as you can see, hockey. But yeah, so for me, what you mentioned earlier, the long reviews, I didn't think I'd write a long review. I thought I would, do real short things because at the time I didn't think I'd like to write. Then I started listening to these albums, and I was like, when I first started, I was like, oh my God, this person puts so much work into this. There's so much detail,
Exactly.
there's so much effort, there's so much dynamic sound in this. How do you write a one paragraph? I mean, I'm sure if you forced me to, I could. And I do little one paragraph sort of overviews of the review and what I think of it at the end of my review. But these people deserve at least, at a minimum, at least a page. And most magazines, that's what they want, at least a page. But most of them, at least like you, and that's the nice thing about Progressive Rock Central. I've worked for those other companies where they're like, Mark, you got to do three of these. And Mark, you got to do the ones that I send you. And it's like, and I did. And some of them, I had a very tough time being positive. I found, the minimal amount that I could be positive about and wrote about that. But yeah, I've never been, I'm like you. I don't want to just rip somebody down that's even if the music isn't that great or the lyrics aren't that great or whatever. They tried, they attempted, they put this thing into a CD or a EPK. They did something. You know what I mean? So don't just throw it to the wind. And I'm lucky to have worked at a record store where a guy told me because yeah, this was way back, I don't know, 15, 16 years old. And I heard the Grateful Dead. And I'm obviously not a fan. I've learned to like them, and I do like some of their songs. But at the time, I absolutely hated them. And I said, "Can't we take this thing off? It sounds terrible," because the owner had it playing. And he goes, "No, Mark, I'm not going to turn that off because I mean, I didn't know about it at the time, but they have a huge worldwide global following.
Oh yeah,
There are a lot of people that absolutely love that music."
Deadheads.
And yeah, the Deadheads. And he's like, "There's no way I'm going to take this off. You've got to learn to expand your horizons because you're going." And he was great. He played blues, he played jazz, he played classical, he put whatever on. It wasn't the same thing. I go into record stores now and it's all metal or it's all pop or, this guy played everything, and which was great. And I learned a lot from that discussion. I was like, yeah, why am I doing this? And then, like I say, I did find some things that I did actually like about some of their music. And you should always be open and willing, especially if you're going to do a review. And like you, I hate that word critic. I'm not a critic. I'm a album reviewer. I listen to it and then I review it. Here's what I got out of it, like you do. And you may listen to this thing and not get any of what I understood or, anything that I talked about. But here's how I looked at it. And as you can see, I have a few albums. So I've listened to some music over time, like you. And no, I'm not perfect. No, I'm not the best there ever was. I'm not saying any of that. But I do have some experience. And it's not like I'm just, throwing flowers to the wind for everyone that I listen to. If you notice on an album that I really don't, put a lot of thank yous and things like that, it may be that I didn't like this as much as Edenbridge's new album or somebody else's. So, and it's always tough. And let's see what you think about this. Because I got so much feedback, especially this year, but always in the past. Why did you pick those albums, Mark? Why did you pick those top 10? You have to. I mean, I did over 100 reviews. You probably did a lot more. Um, you gotta give some kind of award and say, these are the kind of albums that I hope all of you make. Not to copy, no one wants copies of anything, but to learn from what these top 10 people did that made their album, a little bit better than yours. What do you think?
You're 100% right. And there's first of all, there is zillions of
Yeah,
of fans out there who are going to promote the big boys.
yeah,
It's not the big boys who need promotion.
no,
IQ, for example, doesn't need help from me.
yeah,
I've seen them 3 times in concert. I don't review their albums. Why don't I review their albums? Because why should I just repeat what 90% of the other people say? They've already said it. They probably said it just as well as I could have, if not better. So why should I waste my time? My thrill, and I'm sure it's the same with you, but my big thrill is I receive material that is like a newborn baby that was just born from the artist. They're
yep,
handing it over to me and asking me, what do you think? Um, my duty towards them is if I accept the baby, is to take care of that baby, to feed it and to clean it and to talk to it and to caress it and whatever, all the things necessary to be a good parent, right?
yeah.
And then return the baby and saying, that was wonderful. For them to tell you, you got it. My biggest thrill
Oh
when
my
I
God.
do a
Yeah,
review is I get an email back generally the same day as I post the review.
Yep.
Algorithms, they see it right away. Or sometimes I even tell them, I just posted a review of your album, by the way, just so that you know it's on Prog Rogue, on Prog Archives and House of Prog. You get three for the price of one. And they're like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to thank you. The way you spent time and effort to go through and pick out all the little details we thought no one would ever even hear, let alone analyze.
Yeah.
You really got the message. You really understood what we're trying to do. That for me is more than $1 million.
That
Literally.
makes it so worth it. You're so absolutely right. Because when I wrote about atomic time and the first time I listened to it, and I knew they were from Brazil, but when you first hear that, it sounds like you're walking through a Brazilian rainforest. And when he read my review, he was like, "Oh my God, you got it. Thank God you got it." And it was like, how do you miss that? I mean, it just came natural. And
That's
yeah,
because most people hear music and they don't listen to it. That's
yeah,
that.
yeah. There you
You
go.
know,
Very important.
I'm sorry to be critical today, but attention span in the 21st century, not a specialty.
Go
Sorry.
back over that because that's there's a difference. And you describe it between
What?
hearing and listening.
Oh, there's a big difference. Oh my goodness. Well, hearing is it's a bit like one of the functions that most people don't understand about the brain. We generally use a very small percentage of our
Yeah,
brain capacity on a daily basis. That everyone knows. But what most people forget is that we don't really understand our dreams. Where do they come from? And
yeah.
my thought was that while I'm talking to you right now, I'm looking at you on my laptop. You're looking at me. But my cat just walked by a few seconds ago. I
I
did not see
I
the
didn't
cat
either.
go
Yeah.
by, but I
Oh,
felt her
yeah.
go
There you
by.
go. There's a difference.
Now, my eyes did not cap the cat, but my brain did.
Yeah.
The fact that there is a cloud outside my window that just went by, or a bird that flew by, I did not see it, but my brain did.
Yeah.
So the amount of information that you and I and every other human being that has eyesight, the amount of
Process.
information that we ingest that we are not aware of is like 90%
Yeah.
of what's out there. We
Yep.
just don't realize that we saw it. So,
Yep.
but our brain did, which means that we are affected by it because it's in there. We just don't remember seeing it, right? And that's the difference between listening and hearing. So
There you go. Thank you.
oh, okay, the guy's playing bass. Oh, wow. No. Generally, how I learned by a long time ago, very young. That's the classical training. When I get an album, any kind of album, I first listen to it in general, strangely or not, but in the car.
Oh yeah.
Why is it a great place? No distractions
Yes.
outside of driving, right?
Yeah.
Driving. And I do, for my work, I do a lot of kilometers. So I spend a lot of time in the vehicle and I get to listen to entire prog albums because I don't listen to the radio.
Yeah.
I, that's where I decide, do I like this or do I not like this enough to do a review? Then I go home. Yes. Then I
This
go
is
home.
the other way. Yeah. Yeah.
Then I go home and I will listen to the album again, but listening only to the bass guitar.
Yeah.
I hear all the other instruments, but I'm listening to the bass.
Yeah.
Then, third audition, I listen to the keyboards and the guitars.
That's cool.
I
You
focus
separate it
on
out.
that, but I hear the rest, including the bass that I remembered from last time.
Yeah.
So by the third audition, I have not only heard everything, but I've listened to everything.
And that's
So
an important point that you just made there. A lot of these uh, bands and fans think, oh, he just listened to it once. No, no, no. I don't listen to one of these just once before I write. It's like you said, it could be two, three. with some of these bands, it was 10 times just to try to distill everything into it. But yeah, you're right.
And how many times
We
has it
in
happened to you, Mark, where you get an album, you hear it, and you go, oh, I don't know if I like this. And
um,
then you shelve it, and then you come back, I don't know, 3 months later, you go, well, might as well give it another chance, and you fall in love with it.
it happened. I'm not going to mention the name of the band, but it absolutely happened to one of my top 10. And listened to it, liked it, put it on, and just like you said, in the car, and I was like, this is terrible. And then listened to it, put the headphones on, listened to it again, and then found out more about the album, and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then, like I say, it ended up on my top 10. But you're right. Yeah, we don't just, or at least he and I hope everyone does this, but you don't just take that initial listening and say, okay, I'm just going to put this on paper. That's it. Let's move on. We care, and like he said, he absolutely cares about keeping progressive rock going, and he's doing everything he can to make that happen. And if you're just, one shot, two paragraph, you're not doing that. You're not helping the genre at all. And
Certainly not
I'm
in prog,
sorry, if you don't like that, but uh, progressive rock is if you're going to get into writing, and I guess we probably should talk about this, but if you're going to, for those of you who are listening to this and you want to write about progressive rock or really any genre, put time into it. And I think you would probably agree with me. Take your time, listen to that. I'll listen to an album for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then I'll say, okay, now it's time to write. Um, Give it some time. And like I say, I held these up, but yeah, for me anyway, until you've heard it on headphones, it's like you were saying about distractions, you don't get the full, you're listening, but you're really not hearing. Or the other way around, you're hearing something, just a noise, but you're not really deeply listening to it.
and that technology is crazy because it's nothing new. The technology and quality of sound. I mean, let me give you an example that is shocking. I mean, most people, young people, look at when I tell them this, they go, "You're crazy."
Yeah,
Um, I took my children to Budapest, and they were my adult children by that time, and I took them to the Budapest State Opera, which is a beautiful
beautiful.
building,
Yeah,
beautiful inside, like drop dead beautiful. Gold
gold plated.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh
or
my
gold.
goodness.
Yeah.
And red velvet and
I'm
curtains.
afraid to say gold plated because of our president. But go ahead.
So so I took them on purpose to Carmen by Bizet, which is
Oh,
Carmen is
wow.
probably the most known opera in the world. And my children were going like, "Hey, I know that song. Hey, wait a minute, I know that. I've heard that
Heard that.
before." I'm going good. So at one point, my two kids almost simultaneously, one on each side, tells me, "Dad, where are the microphones?" And I said, "What microphones?" "Well, the microphones." I
You
said, "There's
don't
no
need it. Not
microphones."
an opera.
I said, "What?" "No, there's no microphones at all. Do you see any speakers anywhere?" I said, "No, there's none. There is no speakers."
It's
There is
live.
it's what you hear is what you got out of a pair of lungs, man. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah,
And they were like flabbergasted
yeah.
of that control and the tone and the power. And they're going like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, really." So my analogy is Dark Side of the Moon, 50 years later, is still considered an engineering marvel.
It is. Yeah, yeah,
A summit in engineering. Now, was the equipment way better today than it was 50 years ago? Perhaps. But at one point, just like with opera, does it really matter? Because
yeah.
even equipment at one point reaches a level of perfection that the
Yeah,
difference between one and the other is so minute that even the scientists can't hear the difference,
that's true.
anymore,
That's
right?
good. That's a very good point. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
listening, this is the whole big difference. If you're tired of listening to pap, if you're tired to listen to fluff, disposable ear candy. Everyone loves it. You love it. I love it. Hey, listen, we've all been there, right?
commercials.
There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it, but it does not last. There's no
Yeah.
flavor. Okay.
Yeah.
And you move on. But if you want music that has meaning, that will make you emotionally secure and content, why wouldn't you want to listen to that?
Yeah. No, very,
If
very
you know
important.
that it has panacea to it, you know that it will heal you. I can't tell you the number of times that me personally, I was
Yeah.
disappointed, like life can be difficult, as you know, sometimes, and you're disappointed. I just go, no problem. I take these here, I put them on my ears, and I always listen to the same album. It's Hero and Heroine by the Strawbs.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yes, because that album, I know it inside out and sideways, for one. That already helps. And for me, it's a masterpiece in terms of sound, and it's a masterpiece in terms of lyrics, and it's a masterpiece in terms of mood. The
Yeah.
melodies are amazing. The entire album is just plain beautiful. Within 10 seconds of listening to the Autumn Suite, that begins like don, 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 don,
Your
don,
mood has changed.
boom, I'm
Yeah.
I'm cured. This is the fastest acting drug that I've ever seen or heard
Yeah.
of in my
And
life.
people, yeah, that's a very important topic there. Music really does good music. Yeah, it's very important.
Feels.
You mentioned that. Good music really does influence you. The album right next to, I'm trying to point to it, but you can't do it from behind. But The Bonding, Eden Bridges' album, The Bonding. If you've ever, yeah, please write it down. Listen to the final song, the epic song. It's, I don't know,
Right.
20, 30 minutes long. It's massive.
That's all.
But, huh?
That's all.
Well, yeah. Well, for metal, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's
But
very good.
no, it just did the same thing to me as Supper's Ready did when I was 16. And when it happened, and if you go back and hear the full story of what they went through before they made that album, it it comes clear. It makes a lot of sense. I just did an interview and had the chance to talk to Lavelle. He's the guy that wrote it. And anyway, that song, yeah, because yeah, we could talk about all the famous ones we've listened to over the years, but I'm trying to move it towards the new stuff, and this is not new, um, but anyway, it just the very first lines that she says, "Here I am," Sabine, is I felt it. I felt, and I told her that, and it was fun to be able to finally interview them live. I've done a lot of written interviews with them, but it was fun to just ask her what was it like, and she couldn't. It's I don't know, 4 or 5 years since, so you don't get that initial feeling. But she said it still gives her goosebumps and it still is emotional to perform that live. And that's like I say, that's what you and I have both been saying. Make music that's going to last and that's going to really do what it's doing to, when he talks about um, the albums that he's talked about, it's because the Strawbs, it's because you feel that album. And same thing with Atomic Time. I mean, I felt like I was there. And even though I've never been to Brazil, I've never seen, I mean, we have a rainforest up here, but it's a lot different. But you just you can put yourself there. Okay, we gotta move to the newer stuff here. I think you either completed or you definitely received the first big release of the year, which is Clive Nolan's conclusion to Alchemy, the Alchemy trilogy, The Mortal Light. Did you finish your review or
I I
so?
I just got it a few days
Oh,
ago.
okay.
It was sent to me, and I basically haven't had time. It's a, as you know, it's a big one,
Huge.
and
Like
yeah, and the big
40
ones require,
songs, I think.
yes, so it's a big
It's
one.
definitely not for me. I'm not going to do the song by song on this one. And I hope he's not expecting that. And I don't think he is. Most people don't like
No.
my song by song, but I do them anyway. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
Well, when you have 40 pieces, you can't do a piece by piece. It's just ludicrous.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. If you want to enjoy it, then just go out and buy the album and figure it out for yourself, you know. So,
Yeah.
it's no. There's I just finished talking with Lasland, with Steve Lazenby, and we were saying how 2025, actually, you know what, since COVID was over, and actually even during COVID, the general quality of progressive rock music jumped by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
In terms of quantity and quality, something fierce. And I think it had to do with what we talked about earlier. People, you're stuck at home.
Yeah.
You have nothing else to do except watch TV. Might as well fiddle around and figure out things and compose and write and spend your time in your little bubble. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that, because you and I, we do this on a daily basis. Yes, I work, but when work is over, it's just music. There's
Me
really,
too. Yeah.
that's it. And why? Because it provides me with endless amount of joy. I'm thankful I have a day job which I adore, so that it's not a labor of love and or slavery by any stretch. I adore what I do. So um, so when you sit down and you go through and you scour the internet to looking for the next new thing, what's coming up, what's coming around the corner, who is going to release something new, and then within an hour you suddenly get it in your mailbox and you're going, wow, this is kind of cool. I think that 2025 was a banner year in music. If I just look very casually at my list, I probably have, I would say about 200 and, oh, I can
Wow.
tell you exactly actually, 249 albums that I got worthy of review. Some were reviewed, some not. But yeah, 249 albums,
That's
which
incredible.
is, which is, that's a lot, right?
That's a lot. Yeah. When they keep saying, you keep hearing, Prague is dead, Prague is dead. There's 250 albums. Now, no, there's probably more pop albums out there, but that's a pretty significant
And
amount
they're
of
and these are the
music.
ones that I liked only. It's not
Well,
it's not
yeah,
the
yeah,
amount that came out.
exactly.
We
Yeah,
we know the amount that came out. There was I don't know, 1,800 albums globally, and we're not talking about the little indie ones, the real McCoys. So you look at that and you're going, there's no way this genre is going to die out.
no.
I in fact think that it's growing by leaps and bounds.
I agree with you.
Maybe.
And then, like you said, the IQs, the big ones, you and I don't even do those. I love their music, nothing wrong with their music, but I think Prague, the magazine, does a fantastic job with a lot of those big artists. I
Yeah.
couldn't do any better, and let them get the coverage they deserve. They've earned it because most of these people kept, like you said, the genre going. And
Absolutely.
they definitely have earned their keep, so to speak. But now you and I are trying to highlight some of these newer bands. But I still like Clive, and I've always liked Pendragon, but I like Clive's work better. and anyway, so you haven't really had a chance to go through that album. What about series phenomenon? Have you
Yes, I
heard?
reviewed that. I reviewed it. Yeah.
And to me,
Amazing.
the initial feeling is going back to Dark Side of the Moon. No, I always say those things, but it's not a copy, and I make specifically say no, they did not copy it, but the feeling is similar. So you
Well,
like that? No, go ahead. Do you want to talk about that one?
yes, please, because
Okay.
you raise a very interesting point. Jeremy and I, we talked about that. No sequence of notes are left to be played. Everything has been played.
Yeah. There,
Okay. Someone who says I'm going to do something original is because they're combining things that just literally don't make any sense anymore. Every variation, even half tones,
yeah.
been done before. Okay. So how do you stay original? Well, I look at it a bit like I look at it a bit like renovations or a cook who adds a little twist to a classic
Spice.
recipe. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to take the classic recipe and I'm going to add a little paprika here, which I will fry first with it. And then I'm going to put a little this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that. I know it's not the same recipe anymore, but it's very close, but it'll be different. It'll have a different taste. Case in point, you mentioned a very good example, in fact, with Ceres phenomenon. Um, Monsoon from Norway, east of asteroid, very much in the Pink Floyd realm. Ambient Den from
Yeah.
Australia. I mean, out and out. You know what? They've actually out-Floyded Floyd on that album. It's that good. I mean, the track Terraforming. I mean, Gilmore couldn't, and Waters and company couldn't ask for something as good as that if they wanted to. Um,
Put
let's see.
Atomic Time in that same category. I think his and I can't remember his first name. I think it's well, no, I don't want to get it wrong. But those guitar uh, they're longer. I mean,
Yes.
he
Same.
not outplayed, but he played longer than Gilmore, which I didn't think that was even possible. Wishing you were here and things like that. And then
Exactly.
his son, the keyboardist, holy moly, even Wakeman and some of the greatest didn't put together that long. I mean, for a whole album. And now and while we're mentioning them, I'm going to put the plug in that and you and I were there. They are talking about something coming out this year, which I absolutely can't wait for. What are some of the favorites you're looking for? I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but
Of what, 2025 or this
26.
upcoming
What are you looking
26?
for?
Well, I already have I just posted the French version because I also post on a French Canadian site called Profil Prog. So the John Irvine band from
Oh,
Scotland.
I'm gonna
John
write
Irvine's
I'm gonna write some of these down while you're talking, but John
absolutely
Irvine,
John Irvine
okay.
band. He is very talented, multi-instrumentalist. He's basically a jazz fusion, but puts in a lot of electronics. And he put out an album which is very ballsy, very, very, very ballsy. It's called Take Me to Your Leader, which
Oh yeah.
has a great connotation in today's messed up world where all politicians are garbage. But anyway, um, you won't you when I tell you this, you will fall on your face. It's incredible. He basically created an album for the first time with vocals and very much in the spirit of Video Killed the Radio Star and
Oh
the
yeah.
Buggles.
The Buggles, yeah.
Yes. So there is this very fresh, clean, fun element, which very honestly, I'm so tired of doom music. We already have doom, society.
Metal,
We have
yeah.
a doom media that only talks about negatives. It's it's so refreshing to get an album from a talented musician that's upbeat, that sounds good, that's fun. We live in a world where we have everything or 20 times more than our parents had, and yet we are living in a world where depression is the number one killer of humanity. It's not
Yeah.
heart attacks or stroke or cancer. It's everything related to depression. How in hell can you be depressed?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sorry, I mean, I can understand that chemically it can happen. I understand that that will always be the case because a human being is a frail creature.
yeah.
But I have an impression that there is this fascination of people having sympathy for you because you cry a bit, like, oh, I don't feel well. Oh, I didn't like this. Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want,
Yeah.
even my father always said that the most horrible words in English, and the English language is not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. What
What
does
does
that
not
mean?
bad mean?
Yeah. What does that mean? Yeah.
Why can't you just say good? Isn't that
Yeah.
easy? I don't know, it's
Yeah.
shorter. So some of the other stuff that I got in the meantime is spirurgy. I don't know if you know of spirurgy, but Dave
Uh,
Allen, very
Spirogyra, but not Spirogy. Yeah. No, that's
spirurgy.
jazz and
So he this is his third album. He is an English multi-instrumentalist, strong Rush influence actually. Great vocalist, great musician, and Wherever Forever is getting a lot of airplay everywhere.
okay.
Spyro G is very, very tasty indeed.
All right. We were talking about Peter Gabriel, but he actually has a new album coming out. I know that he's big, and we probably won't review it. I probably won't review it.
I don't
I
know.
didn't particularly like the last one. It was just too slow, and um, even though I love the old Genesis stuff, I loved his '80s stuff, and that's not fair either. But I'm expecting that. And when I got the slow stuff, I was like, mm. My wife loved it. She kept playing it. And some of the stuff I heard that's coming from this new one made me feel like here we go again. But he put out a new one today, Put the Bucket Down, which actually has a great meaning to it. And it actually sounds a little bit like that. So it's given me some hope on that one. I will always buy Peter Gabriel no matter what happens. It's one of my favorite artists, but um, that would have you heard anything about that, or what do you think?
Well,
Or
I
you
heard that
stay
it's
away
coming
from it?
out,
Yeah,
but frankly, that's another kind of artist who, for me, it's not that the thrill is gone. I've seen him live. I was a huge fan.
yeah,
He is amazing, but he is iconic. It's a bit like Jethro Tull albums. They don't do anything for me anymore. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. You
It's
have
it's
so
no
many. Yeah,
disrespect intended, but it just doesn't do anything for me. Where there's a lot of where there's a lot of activity, it's from places like you said, Brazil, that keeps on pounding out regular basis good music. I reviewed a few of their new releases from that country. Um, there is things coming in from Italy. Italy always surprises me because
Italy.
they,
Wow.
they, they stay silent for about 3 months, and you go, okay, maybe they're tired. I don't know. And then suddenly there's a whole slew of albums that start spinning out. Norway is becoming ridiculous. I can,
Greece, Greece. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
God.
So,
Last year and the already starting this year. There is some great stuff coming out of there. Definitely.
so
And
you,
I've talked to many of I mean, not everyone, but I've talked to a lot of bands from Greece, and they're like, there's no support there in the country, but they're still doing it. They're still putting together some really incredible music. What about Carnival? I loved their first, and as far as well, no, I think they had one before that, but the last one I absolutely adored. And what I've heard of the new one, I've already ordered it that sounds like it's going to be good. It's going to be one of my early, and they're, to me, they're more metal, but they definitely have a lot of progressive. You know who I'm talking about from Australia?
Yes.
Looking for it or not?
Uh, it's generally, I have a completely different attitude. I basically will look into folk music as well, progressive folk. I'm not afraid of electronic music. Some of the stuff that I got, Holle Mangler and Robeck and whatever, which are the big difference. Well, so what do you mean by electronic? Well, what that means is that there's a lot of synthesizers, but also guitars, bass, and drums. Because purely electronic music is nice, but after a while it becomes very samey. So you need to inject a little more
Yeah.
organic feel to it. So there's a lot of stuff coming in constantly. My curiosity is always lit. And of course, a lot of times I click on something, I listen to it, I say, nope, that's not for me. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Check
Um,
out, check out, write this one down. I think you might like this. It's very, very, I can't remember where I found it, but I wrote to her and she sent it to me. Joy Shannon, In the Forest Singing Sorrowless. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of the name, yes.
Yeah.
She's
More,
American? American?
no, I absolutely forget where she's from. I should have it all. But it's one of the ones that I'm doing next, but it's harp and
Fantastic.
class and like you said, folky, but it's just beautiful. It's the kind of music it's definitely headphones music. She may not like that. She may, but just really, so far, that's been one of the biggest surprises, so to speak. I saw that and I said, I got to check this out, and I really do like it. Two bands that I'm really hoping will come out with new albums. One of them won my album of the year not too long, a couple of years ago, more from, and I can't remember if it's Norway or Sweden, but they have, I don't know, it feels like 10 or 15 people on stage, and it's like an orchestra, and it's just, did you hear their last album?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely brilliant. There's a lot of pop in there, but there is uh, a lot of prog, and I love that. I see them in the recording studio, and I'm hoping that's coming this year. And then the other one, and you probably like these guys, Wobbler.
Hmm.
Oh my God. Yeah, and there's rumblings that they may have an album coming on. I really hope so. I've been the last one was absolutely, I think it won my progressive rock album of the year. And so I'm looking forward to those two. I haven't done a review of Big Big Train, but everything I'm hearing about Woodcut sounds no? Why?
Well, and I don't know. I think that I'm seeing a lot of reviews. Not that it matters, because my opinion is not going to change because someone else thinks different. I mean, opinions are, to each his own. But I think there's a problem with the new singer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the last one was incredible. Yeah.
He was incredible. The Mr. Braveen has a tendency to Ian Gillanize, or to to try to boldly go where sometimes the voice cannot go.
Oh, okay.
And I detected that already on I have all the albums except the last few, because ever since he came on, I tried, and it for the time being, it doesn't work. Is it because I'm still under the spell of the previous singer? Most probably. And everyone's allowed to like chocolate ice cream,
Yeah.
even though there's pistachio. But
That's like me and Morellian. When Fish left, I left. the new guy, I know he's fantastic. He's great. He's got a good voice, but it does nothing for me. Yeah. Yeah. Just
So,
a comparison. Yeah.
so what I would invite you to do is if you're curious to see what comes in, you can go as well as your guests who click on. You can go to the YouTube Prog Rogue, the Prog Rogue channel. So it's very easy to get there because I've made it a point now to do videos of all the recent arrivals. So every week, 10 days, depending if I'm not on holiday, there was a big hiatus when I was gone for a month in Europe. But otherwise, pretty much every 10 days or so, I introduce whatever came in. Some of them reviewed already, most of them not. So they're really fresh out of the oven. That will give you an idea, at least, where to look if you're trying to find out if there's something new coming in. Um, Also, on another note, you're gonna probably be very happy with the new Enigmatic Sound Machines album.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
that's right. You guys are doing one this year. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's almost finished actually, which is funny because the official launch on is of the album on Bandcamp and Spotify and whatever is actually today.
Oh,
So
well,
yeah, it's really interesting.
please
So
send
we're
it to me.
basically yeah, well, that was because those were, one of the ways that Monforte works is that, and it's a smart way of doing it, is that we don't make money, as you know, with Spotify and whatever. You need to have zillions streams. So
Yeah.
he likes to work the algorithms by putting out one song every month,
Good
so
idea.
that the algorithm picks up the consistency. Ah, it's the same band, another piece, and a same band, another track, same band, another track. And that's how you generate numbers. It's a mathematical thing. I get it.
Yeah.
So we've done our 8 pieces, Red Forest having just finished playing in the month of January, sorry. So we're basically at the end of the roll. And because we're at the end of the roll, now the album
Time
can
to release it. Yeah.
sort of release itself and start selling. But we have
But please, yeah, please send it to me. Yeah.
well, this new album you will like only because it's a lot heavier.
Okay.
You'll be the first to know. No one has really heard it yet except internally. It will be very guitar centric also, lots of guitars. Um, and a much more harsher, no, not harsher, still very melodic, very electronic, but in a very heavy drums. Really worked a lot on that. I started pushing the Bonham sound on Jeremy. Like
Yeah.
you
John Pub.
know, 3 tracks of drums is okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And we think both of us that it's by far, in fact, I think that it outweighs the other 3 albums
Wow.
combined.
Combined. Wow.
Oh yeah, combined. This is going to be the sort of the make and break one. Not that it matters anyway, because we're doing this for legacy, so
You're
we
going to
don't.
keep doing it. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to keep doing it anyway. Um, so it's going to go out there, and I think that it's going to cause a certain amount of shock. I won't tell you too much because it's still not completely cooked yet. We're waiting for mastering and mixing, which is going to happen very soon. And we're looking at maybe April
Release.
release.
Right.
And that beautiful cover work, lot of subtleness in it. There's no more saxophone, but lots of other instruments and one big surprise. I won't tell you what the big surprise is, but it's a
Mm.
big surprise. Someone very
Somebody
well.
who's performing on it or, oh,
Yes, we have a few guest artists, but one in particular that yeah,
gonna
you
blow
will
people
love.
away. Yeah.
Oh, yes, a lot of people are going to go, "What? Really? And how did you manage that one, Thomas?" Well, because I have
Yes.
connections. Like
No,
that's
and it's a
and
funny
you
thing.
ask.
Yeah, you have to ask. And it's so hilarious when I tell people that, I've talked to this one and that one. And it's like, yeah, but how did you, get the nerve, I guess, to do that? It's they're people just like us. And the
So,
minute you ask them a question, it's like, thank you, you were interested in this. And you think that I'm not going to put in anyone's name, but you think that this person has talked to everyone in the world, and they haven't. And they're just like you and me. They love the fact that here's another person that actually likes what I did. And, and yeah, they may be making millions and billions and, but hey, here's another person. And this person had the guts to just ask me something. And yeah, no,
I,
it's funny how that works. I mean, everyone's like, why,
we ask
people
our
are like, why are
girlfriends as
you
well.
asking these people for music? Because
Yeah.
I want to hear it. I want to review it. And yeah, some of them, I have had a few people that, no, uh, the station I'm sorry, the website you use is not big enough or whatever. Okay, fine. Perfect. There's 100,000 more behind you. Um, but yeah, you got to be willing to ask. This year, I'm hoping, because everyone talks about Pain of Salvation, and I have heard some of their music, but they have a new album coming out. I'm hoping that this will be the year that I finally get a chance to review one of theirs. And then just two more I really want to mention. Fido is back. And oh my God, I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
And I think you're
ZV,
probably a fan of his as well, right?
of course.
Yeah, yeah. He is fantastic, and he's back after a long hiatus. There,
Very long time to this.
and every single, it's like Peter Gabriel. I mean, some of these people, you just, uh, it's going to be good. I mean, maybe it's not up to his last one or whatever, but it is going to be a good quality album, and you don't even have to think about it. And
Yeah, it
those
could
are
be even
nice.
better.
Huh?
It could be even better,
Yeah,
than
yeah. With this long duration, like Eden's Song and some of those bands, Echo Lynn, that took a long hiatus, they came back and they were some of my favorite albums of the year. So yeah, you're right. The other one is, and let's see if you remember these guys from I think it was the late 80s and 90s, Art in America. I have all their albums. Do you remember them?
oh yes.
They're coming back with an album. And they loved it when I did their last one. And I even think I went back to the first album and redid that one. I don't like to go back in time because, like you said, and we both said, everyone's already talked about that album, and their first album was out of sight. I mean, that just the song "Art in America," but they always put together a fantastic album. And also, I think you done Ellen Morris album yet? Because I've received it, I
Yes.
just haven't.
Yeah, I reviewed it, and it wasn't the highest review I've ever done in my life, I can tell you that much.
Okay.
Um, that probably was, I'm not going to say that it was a disappointment. I won't say that. But already I'm not a big Spock's Beard fan.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm not that big a fan either, but I'll
For
give him a chance.
for me, the best American album by a country mile in 2025 was the absolute amazing, but when I mean amazing, Rocking Horse
That was
Music Club. Wow, wow, wow. Was that ever good?
it really
Why
was.
at one point I remember hearing that for the and I realized that they did the Anthony Phillips albums, they
Before
were the same crew. And I'm listening to the guy sing, and I'm going, that's David Gates from Bread.
Brett, yeah,
Is
that's
a dead
exactly.
ringer. It's a dead ringer for David Gates, who had as you
And
remember, who had a beautiful voice. I mean, an
yes, he
absolutely
did. And I put it
gorgeous
in my
voice.
review too, and he's like, everyone says that when I
Well,
interviewed
because
them.
it's true.
But it's yeah. how do you get away from the truth? Yeah, no, he
And
really
then and then
sounds.
and then there was another band that you have to
And
listen.
by the way, they're coming out with a new one this year too, or at least
Yes, I read that, yeah.
they mentioned
But
it.
that little guy, Toll Height, have you
Oh
heard of
yeah,
Toll Height? My goodness, he's prolific like crazy. Multi-instrumentalist, does everything. Pushes out albums like there's no tomorrow. The last one, Piper's Honey, was whoppingly good.
yeah.
In that sort of, neoclassical, old school prog, Rick Wakeman, see how well I play without being too overtly showy, was very, very, very good. I was very surprised. I have a few albums by him, but that one was really good. So, the USA is doing what it needs to do, which is a good thing.
How about John Anderson and the Band of Geeks? I liked the last album, and he's putting out another one this year. And no, it's not. Yes, but he's still capturing that positive mode. It's
Yeah,
not as deep as it used to be, and that's a shame. But it's not that music that just like Awaken is like something you'd listen to in church or something like that. I mean, every time I hear that, it's almost like you have to. It's like Bono said, you have to put on special slippers or whatever.
yeah.
It's you really have to give it your full attention. It's not that, unfortunately, but it is. I still think it's good, and I still wish there'd be some way that they could patch things up. But it may never happen. It probably won't happen because I think Chris is not Chris. Steve is
Steve
not a
Vai.
big fan. Yeah,
No. Oh, they had a serious row, those two,
yeah, yeah.
which, I mean, it happens in the best of families, but and I don't know if you agree with this, but I sort of found out becoming more on the musical side as opposed to the fan side and the writing side. But I did notice one thing is that guitarists are prima donnas.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying it out there. Very sorry, those who are guitarists, you know what I'm talking about. Look at yourself in the mirror and please accept the fact that you are prima donnas. Okay. Um, you know, bass players have a tendency of being very sedate and quiet and in the corner, the odd weirdo, like Nick Beggs or someone like that. But otherwise, they're pretty tranquil people. And the keyboardists, you know what? They're busy working. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot of stuff to do. And drummers, that's the athletic guy, right? That's the sportsman. The guitarist is the seducer, the showman, and then of course the only person that can challenge the guitarist is who else? The
The
vocalist,
vocalist.
right?
Oh yeah.
Because the vocalist is the front man. So if you look at the history of not just prog, but in the whole rock idiom, the relationships between singers and guitarists,
Yeah. Yeah.
not, not always peachy. It's
There's
uh,
there's a long list. Yeah.
some who never even spoke to each other. I mean, they would come, they would play, and they would walk out. I mean, okay, fine. Sorry, I asked.
Crazy. Well, let me ask you this. Did you want to talk about any other bands or mention we'll just open it up for whatever you want to talk about because we could, as you can see, we're already about an hour and more than an hour into
41
this,
an hour.
and he and I could probably keep going
Oh,
all
for
day.
days on end, my dear
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Days on end.
But everyone else out there is like, okay, I need to go and do something. But no, I kind of got my list of what I think is something that I'm interested in. I'm going to pursue. How about yourself?
In terms of Prague?
Yeah. Or leave it open to anything. Go ahead.
Well, things that I'm going to pursue. To be very honest, we have a religion in Canada called hockey, as you may have heard of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mind you, I don't know if you're a Kraken fan or a Utah fan, but because
No,
you
no,
have
I'm a Kraken fan. This is the newest one that I bought. I am one jersey away from having every team's jersey. And for a long time I was like, I'm not going to get certain ones. And I said, no, I'm this close. And a lot of the ones are 80s and 90s, so it's not like I have brand new everything. No, no. But I am one actually a Utah away jersey, and I've already ordered it, is the last one, and I will have some
Bravo.
jersey for all teams, home and away. And so yeah, I'm definitely a fan. And like I say, I'm wearing this because it's the newest. But yeah, the Kraken is definitely my team.
So you know that in Montreal, the legacy, I don't have to tell you about it. It is it is religion. I mean,
Yes.
you ask any hockey player in the National Hockey League, what are the games that they circle on the calendar? That's when they come to play in Montreal. It's and if you ask all
Toronto.
of them why, it's the only place, honestly, the only place
Yeah.
where the crowd will actually applaud the opposing team if they do something incredible.
Yeah, that's rare.
It's
Yeah.
it's it, it's kind of, yeah. Try doing that in Philadelphia or in New York. Good luck.
Or Calgary or anywhere else.
Or
Yeah, yeah,
Calgary
yeah.
or Edmonton, yeah. But in Montreal, there is this quasi-religious, literally
Sportsmanship.
religious fascination for everything, the whole aura. So it's not just the sweater, it's not just the tradition. You walk into a place and you have 24 banners sticking from the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's
They've had
intimidating,
a
right?
lot of
And you have
success. Yeah.
and you have the people there who are extremely knowledgeable because there's nothing else. There's this classic joke. Why do you live in Quebec? Well, do you like hockey? Well, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I mean?
true.
It's that and good food, and that's about it. So we have a team this year that is the youngest team in the National Hockey League, and they are fascinating to watch, as you
They're
as you
doing
may
pretty
see.
well. Yeah. Are they,
Easily.
from what I haven't looked lately at the East, but are they on top of the division?
Yeah, very close.
I'm looking right
One
now.
or 2 points away. So it's a big battle between Detroit and Boston and Montreal. We also have another great passion is seeing Toronto getting screwed. We
Yeah.
really enjoy that a lot, because you don't have to push for them to fumble, they
Yeah.
sort of do it on their own. It's remarkable.
They're
So
trying to trade somebody for one of our guys right now. Yeah.
yes, that's why I was mentioning that because they have to retool because they are the hockey version of the Chicago Cubs and the Boston Red Sox. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They
It,
must have done something very bad a long time ago, and they're cursed because
yeah.
it's not normal to be that shitty. I mean, I'm
It is
sorry.
they're in the bottom of the division. Yeah.
They're like, you're kidding me, really? You pay four guys zillions of dollars and your team is last? Why?
Why? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's like I don't get it. So that's the current at least until the Stanley Cup is given out, that is going to be the main focus in this lovely town. But I love surprises, whether it's in sports or in music or anything. Uh, do I really try to find what's coming up next? Many of the bands that you and I we like and we review, they are not necessarily on a label. They're not necessarily promoted by a promotion company. and they basically work pretty much on their own. They have, wives or partners who handle the marketing side, very home style, etc. So there's sometimes not even any advance notice, that something is in the pipes. You just
Exactly.
suddenly wake up one day and what? A new album by these guys? Who are they? Wow, they're back.
Yep.
So I kind of prefer it that way, you
Yeah.
know. Is Gail Elliott and the Electromag is going to come up with another album again after pushing out one every year? That album they did, The Painted River of Light. I don't know if you listened to it, but
No, I didn't. No,
oh, you
but
would
I'm
like
going
that.
to. Yeah.
That's Jam Carrot's guitarist. Gail Elliott is amazing. Just
Okay.
if he's not one of the best American guitarists ever, I don't know. He's that good. So, I would say that I'll just leave it as let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let the cards fall where they may. I, of course, keep tabs on you, and you can keep tabs on me. And please visit my Facebook page and even the YouTube. I mean, that would be good for you. You just click on the YouTube, see the video. They're short, they're 4 minutes long.
Okay.
And I introduce not I don't talk much. I just introduce the new albums that come in, and that's it. So that at least you are aware of what may be
What's
available.
coming? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Another one that I did not mention, but absolutely, it's probably at the top of my list, is part of um, part of the theory from Greece, and absolutely the single. I mean, I still listen to that single. I love that single, but I'm dying to hear the rest of that album. I think, and I've already gone on record saying it, and maybe I'll regret it, but I'm going to say it again. I think they have the potential of being like a Led Zeppelin. No, there's only one Led Zeppelin. There will never be another. But they have the potential, this time with a female singer. But the music is catchy, it's powerful, it's deep. The lyrics are fantastic, and at least the single. But it's also that constant fear that there's nothing else coming, and you keep asking, and when's the next single, things like that, and I leave them alone now. But I can't wait for the next single, but I've already heard some other songs from them that are up to the same quality, and I know they can deliver. And it's just that was my surprise of last year. Well, that along with
Oh,
Atomic Time.
art of the theory. Art of the
Part,
theory.
P-A-R-T,
Yeah,
part
part.
of the theory. And
Okay.
yeah, listen to the single. And again, when I first saw it, it was like hearing Madonna rejuvenated and coming back, the original Madonna
Yeah.
singing, and then with Led Zeppelin supporting her. That's the way I described it. And again, no, they're not Led Zeppelin, and no, she's not Madonna. And I got to be careful when you say things like that because people are like, she's copying. No, she's not copying. She doesn't even really look or act like her at all. But if you listen to the lyrics, it kind of pulls some of that same kind of stuff that Madonna was talking about way back
Theory,
in
yeah.
the 80s. But and that might be enough you don't even want to hear it, but give it a chance. But I expect big things from these guys, and I really cannot wait to get the album. It's one of those things where you're like, you're so surprised, you're just running with the ball, and it's like waiting for the rest of it. And but I know I can't wait for the new Atomic Time. How can they possibly match what they did last time? I think they will, but because he already mentioned to us some of the new things that they're planning to do. But will it hit us the same way? that one did. I don't know. We're gonna see. But yeah, there 2026 has a potential of, and you and I have both agreed that 25 was out of this world, but 2006 can even outdo that. Has the potential, and has
Yeah.
already started. Let me put it that way too, because like I say, on the metal side, we may already have, I think, the top 4 or 5 albums for the year. We're going to see because there are a lot on the table there that we haven't even talked about. But it's going to be a great year, and I think you're also looking forward to it. And for those of you that are out here listening, and we've been talking about a lot of old bands and things like that. But like he said, the genre is still alive, and both of these genres, metal is just growing by leaps and bounds every single year. And if you saw how many people have sent me, new music and, please review this. And I'm going to try. You only have so much time, and like he said, no one, and neither of us are getting paid. We pick and choose what we think is really gonna excite you, like it excites us. And 2026 could be a fantastic year. January has already been, so let me just put that in the books for me.
Which is a quiet month generally.
Usually, like I said, yeah, it has been off the charts. This last January, I had one fantastic artist, Bella Morte, who I've gotten back to me, that just threw me to the floor with that album. And it never, there was never anyone close to competing with him. And these four or five, I should say, are just dynamic. So I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah.
Instead of me talking, go ahead.
No, it's it's all good. We shall see what happens, and you know, keep the finger on the pulse. I'm just looking at. I actually have an Eden Bridge album. Ah, okay.
Oh, good. Which one?
Shangri-La,
Which one?
Shangri-La, Shangri-La.
That was a good one. That was a good one. I was really hoping they'd go deeper. In fact, I asked them, go deeper into the book. And in the interview I just did with them, I sort of took them back to I don't know if you know, but there's an original video of the first movie from the 30s, 1937, I think it was. And I loved it. I mean, the production is horrible. And parts of the original video were missing. And so you'll get these pictures of actors just kind of standing there, and you'll still hear the communication or the narration, whatever. But the quality isn't good. But the pieces where he's talking to the um, Buddhist priest that was going to let him take over for him when he died,
Yes.
those are just unbelievable. And I wanted them to bring more of that out in Shangri-La. And hopefully they'll come back and look at it. Yeah, he said he's interested in trying to find the video and watching
That
it.
was a great movie, actually.
You've seen that one, the
Oh,
37?
wow, that's a
Yeah,
classic, of course.
yeah. The one
Nice.
from the 70s, it has some good things to it, but it's mostly, yeah. I don't even have that one. Yeah. And I remember seeing it when I was a kid, but yeah, yeah, it went way off course. But yeah. Well, hey, anything else? I keep talking, but anything, it's supposed to be your show. Anything else you would like to mention? Yeah.
We've covered everything.
I think we have covered as much as, I mean, you can't cover all the decades, but I think we've hopefully brought things up to current. And like he said, don't give up on the genre. It's growing, it's magnifying, and now it's spreading into metal, I think. And metal has said, hey, we can do concept albums. I mean, you used to never hear a metal band say, well, we're going to do a concept album. And people would look at them and say, well, that's the end of them. I'm not
Yeah.
going to listen to them anymore. And it's like, no, I have a lady that did an opera, metal opera, and Arjun Lucasen has kind of spearheaded a lot of that stuff. You give him, the credit he's due, but
Yes.
definitely, there's nothing but good things. At least I'm feeling towards music today. This music, now, yeah, like you said, pop. You know, we all listen to it. You can't avoid it if watching TV or something, you hear the commercials, or if you're in the car, like you said, you're going to hear the radio stations. But um, progressive rock and if you want to call it progressive metal or symphonic metal or whatever you want to call it, um, there's some good stuff coming.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
hey, thank you, Thomas. Really, I appreciate it. I mean, like I say, he and
My
I
pleasure.
could keep going. Hoping for next Sunday, we'll have a victory here in Seattle. Um, that I know you had a Rams hat on last time I think we talked,
No, Chargers.
or Chargers. That's right. It was Chargers. Yeah, I'm sorry. Um,
But they never won anything, but they were fun to look
well,
at. So I mean, and
they
that
love their jerseys. I absolutely love the Chargers, both home and away. A lot of people don't like the away jersey, but I like that as well. And
those powder blue white helmet stuff there, the Chargers. That's what I fell in love with.
yeah,
With what was his name, John Hadel back in the day. My goodness,
anyone
and
that's
that goes
got
back a while.
the guts
Yes.
to wear that, yeah,
Yeah, I just
yeah,
I was a kid and I looked at as a Canadian looking at American the NFL. I mean, I saw the first Super Bowl, so I know what all Green Bay Packers were looking like, and I just fell in love with that uniform, and I said, okay, well, that'll be my team, I guess.
there you
Viewed
go.
from the eyes of a child, and yeah, Seattle. I'm certainly rooting for them.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
I've been to
Uh,
Seattle and still love the place. I think it's a great city in many ways.
and we've got some what's the word I'm looking for here? Revenge. Because that last one with New England, oh my goodness, yeah, yeah.
Well,
We won't even go there because that'd be another whole day. But hey,
exactly.
really thank you very much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy as well. But we both love talking about this stuff, and for
Yes,
us,
sir.
it's not hard work. We, like I
Oh,
say, probably keep going. But thank you very much, Thomas, and
no,
I will definitely continue to watch your videos and all that you're doing because it's top notch, and
thank you.
everyone else should do the same. Give the Prog Rogue. I'm sorry, Prog Rogue. It's you almost want to say Prog Rock.
That
But
was the idea.
well, exactly. But yeah, give it a listen. And he's an incredible authority with a lot of knowledge. He can speak five languages. I mean, that tells you everything right there. Um, give him a chance, and he can help you make some decisions on what to listen to. He's not telling you what to do, but he's just giving you, you know,
Hints.
hints. There you go.
Okay.
Anything else? Otherwise, okay. Thank you very
Oh,
much. All right. Hold on. I'm going to put it on hold here.